Okay, so today we're doing the second part of 4.2 notes. This is, you're going to be dealing with word problems and consecutive integers. Can anybody tell me what consecutive means? Right after each other. Very good. So when we go through here, a lot of people get scared by word problems, but I promise you it's not that bad. So it says the product of two consecutive positive integers. What I always like to do is give myself an example. So two consecutive positive integers would be like the numbers 1 and 2. Okay? Would you guys agree with that? Okay. So your first number is always going to be your x. Okay? And your second number, you need to figure out what would I do to 1 to get to 2? What do I need to do to it? Good. So 2 is going to be x plus 1. Okay? So these are my two generic consecutive integers. Okay? And it says the product. So what does product mean? Multiplication. Very good. So that means I'm going to multiply these together. So it'll be written as x times x plus 1. And then they said that it is 42. So that means equals 42. Now the thing you have to pay attention to on your test, this is like the most confusing part, but once you end up finding your two integers, it says find the two integers and their sum. Okay? So we're going to do two things here. We're going to find the integers and then I'm going to find their sum. So when I'm solving this, anybody have an idea what we'll need to do first? Good. Distribute or multiply. So we're going to go x times x, which is, and x times 1, which is x equals 42. Now anytime you see an x squared, we need to make our equation set equal to what? 0. And then we're going to have to factor. Okay? So I'm going to subtract 42 to both sides. We have x squared plus x minus 42 equals 0. And then we're going to now factor. So we're looking for what number will multiply to be negative 42 and add or subtract to be 1. Very good. So 6 and 7 work. 6 times 7, and the 7 is your negative. Good. So we have x plus 6. Yes, you were right. Good job. Good catch. So it's plus, yes. Yes, you can. In just a minute. So this is x minus 6 and x plus 7 because we want the x to be positive. Okay. So when we set these equal to 0, what values do we get for x? Good. You end up getting a positive 6 and a negative 7. Now if you go back to your original problem, it says two consecutive positive integers. So which one of these will not work? Good. So that one is out. So x can only equal 6. So I go back here. My x value is 6. And then my next number would be 6 plus 1, which is 7. So those are my two consecutive integers. So I found my two integers, and then it asks me for their sum. So what is their sum value? 13. 6 plus 7 is 13. So this is my answer. Okay? Do we have questions on any part there of example 1? What? Where did the 7 come? So we plugged in right here. 6 was x, right? Because we got that right there. And then you're plugging in 6 right here. 6 plus 1 makes 7. So once you get your answer, then you plug it back in. Other questions? All right, example 2 then. This one says, find two consecutive even integers. Okay, so we're going to make our generic equation. So tell me, what are two consecutive even integers? 2 and 4. Very good. Okay, so our first number is always our x. So this is going to be x. And then what do I add to 2 to get to 4? So x plus 2. Very good. Okay. Are we okay with those? All right, so this is what we're looking at, x and x plus 2. It says such that the square of the second. Which one of these is the second? Okay, so square of the second. So we have x plus 2 squared. Decreased by the first. Good. Subtract x is 134. And is always means equals, so that equals 134. Okay, so now we have to do the same thing as we did on example 1 and multiply it out and set it equal to 0. How will I multiply out x plus 2 squared? Good, go ahead and box it, okay? So I'm going to make a box, or you can FOIL. Either method is okay. And I have x plus 2 and x plus 2. When we multiply there, x times x is x squared, x times 2 is 2x, 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times 2 is 4. Here are like terms here in the middle. So I get x squared plus 4x plus 4, and then I still have minus x equals 134. Questions right now? Am I going too fast? No? Then I would combine my like terms. So I have a 4x and a negative x, which will make, so x squared plus 3x plus 4 equals 134. And then what will I do? Good, subtract 134 to make it set equal to 0 so that I can factor. I have x squared plus 3x minus 130 equals 0, because we subtract and take the sign of the larger number. Okay, so now we're figuring out what multiplies to be negative 130 and adds to be positive 3. Good, so you're going to have 13 and 10. Good. So negative 10. So x plus 13 and x minus 10 equals 0. If we double check, these do add or subtract to be 3 and multiply to be negative 130. When I set those equal to 0, what does x equal? Good, negative 13 and a positive 10. So once you find these answers, usually one of them won't work. So we have to go back to our original problem, and it says even integers. Which one is not even? Negative 13. So this one is out. So that means that x is 10, and then x plus 2 is going to be 10 plus 2, which is 12. And this one didn't say anything about finding the sum. It just says find 2 consecutive even integers. So 10 and 12 are my answers on example 2. Okay? Questions? All right, example 3. Do you guys want to try this on your own, or you want to do it together? Try it on your own? Okay, so I'm going to give you a few minutes here to try it on your own. If you're playing this video, I have to let it keep recording, so sorry. Once you get your answers, raise your hand and I'll come around and check them. So what are consecutive odd integers? Good, 1 and 3. I just want to make sure you guys get on the right track. So 1 and 3, so 1 I'm going to always give as x, and what do I add to 1 to get to 3? 2, so it's going to be x plus 2. 1 plus 2 makes 3. So those should be your 2 generic integers. Also, you want to remember that is means what? Equal. Do you guys want to make sure your equation is set up right? Okay, so the square of the larger, which one is larger? Okay, so we're going to write that as x plus 2 squared. Is means equals, and then it says 10 more than 5 times the smaller. whenever you see more than or less than, you always start here at the end. So 5 times the smaller is going to be 5x plus 10. And you would do your box on x plus 2 squared, but we already did it back here on example 2. So you kind of don't need to redo all that if you don't want to, and you can just write what x plus 2 squared is from what you already did on example 2, which is x squared plus 4x plus 4. Okay. All right, finish that up and I'll come around and check some answers. No. All right, so when we finish this, a lot of you got the correct answer. So I need this to be set equal to 0, so I'm subtracting 5x, and I'm also subtracting 10 to make this equal to 0. So I get x squared. 4 and negative 5x makes negative x, and then this makes negative 6 equals 0. What you have to be careful about is the numbers that multiply to be 6 are 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. Okay, but in order to make a negative 1, it'll be 2 and 3, and which one is going to be negative? 3. Okay, so I end up getting x plus 2 times x minus 3 equals 0. Those do multiply to be negative 6 and add to be negative 1. When you set them equal to 0, we get x equals negative 2 and positive 3. When you go back to the original problem, it said find 2 consecutive odd integers. So which one's odd? So negative 2 is out. So when you come up here, back to our generic here, that means x equals 3, and then 3 plus 2 is 5. So my answers are 3 and 5. It didn't ask me for the sum, so that's it. That's my answer. Any questions? All right.